On. Goodness. you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through, but that's a doggone season that he won't try something new? A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do?
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. But it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who'll bring the job a fresh new point of view. Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. Because it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. And it's Kennedy, 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 for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you like a man who answers straight, a man who's always fair?
We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you'll cast your vote for Kennedy and the change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Yes, it's Kennedy, 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 for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Welcome from my humble second bedroom here in Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of these United States, so long as we're, I guess technically the United States anyway, Western Hemisphere, North American continent, part of these, oh, I did that, part of on this planet Earth. The only one we have, literally. Third rock from the sun in the Terran solar system, part of the Milky Way galaxy. This is the Kennedy Effect TKE tonight, live with you for the 6th of February, 2025. I can't tell you what it is about that happens to me in my brain, what misfires, that I tend to forget what year it is. You would think with all of the genuine terror that is beginning to be foisted on the American people that I would remember what the hell year it is. But yet here I am forgetting. I seem to get to that end of that little rant there and forget what the hell year it is. And I just don't know why. I don't know how that happens. A special welcome to everybody who is here already. We have welcome to Oliver and Phyllis, and I'm scrolling, and welcome to Wendy. I just typed, and a welcome to Sherry. He's typing. I think I'm even spelling it all correctly, which is really something special. Welcome to all of you. I just want to say something super quick. We're 6 minutes past the top of the hour. I've been getting a lot of comments through Facebook, specifically, recently, about, I'm watching your program, there's no sound. I'm watching, there's no sound. We do this program live. I do not record it ahead of time. I don't screen phone calls. I don't screen and block comments. I don't block trolls. I don't block any of that. This is a live program. When people tend to talk to me about, how is your podcast going? I kind of bristle at that term. I shouldn't. I'm being oversensitive. But I tend to bristle at that term a little bit because it is not a podcast. I do not record this and then edit it and then make myself look better and make myself look smarter. I don't do any of that. First off, I'm not that smart. I tell you that almost every program. I'm not special. I'm not that smart. I'm not better than anybody. I'm just more experienced in different things. If I wouldn't sit here and talk about internal medicine because I don't know about it. I talk about politics because I do. And I talk about public speaking and messaging, history, because I know about these things. But we're live. So that couple of minutes at the beginning of every show where you're just kind of watching me do stuff, it's how I get the program out to the 100 plus places that it goes to. I have technical work that I have to do. I can't do that when we're not actually broadcasting. I have to start the program first, then do a bunch of technical things. Then at 8:01, we play the song, the intro music, if you will, and then we're off to the races. So to all the new folks who don't understand how it works, please know I'm more thrilled than I can tell you that there are new folks checking us out literally every time we're on the air. It means the world to me. We couldn't do it without you. Just know that we are live. It is not recorded. I think I do it this way mostly because I'm an old radio guy. I started doing live AM terrestrial radio when I was in high school. It was sports. Then when I got into my late teens and 20s, it was politics. Live call-in. Push the button, you're on the air. Anything that happens, happens. And I prefer to continue to do it this way. I suppose it's sort of a podcast in a way, in that once it's recorded, and it's kind of a podcast-y kind of thing. But I take great pleasure in the fact that we are live with you right now. You've watched crap happen to me live. I've gotten work phone calls. The internet has gone out. The power has gone out. I have gotten sick. Like literally gotten migraines where I was going to go throw up and I've had to stop. I've had times where I can't breathe, which is actually one of tonight. Actually, we're having problems getting air tonight. But just for all the new folks who maybe aren't familiar with what we do, please know it means the world to me that you are here. We couldn't do it without you, but it's different what we do here. It's very, very different. So anyway, until somebody can tell me how to do all the sharing of it offline, which I got to imagine some of these other programs do that I see, like, Midas Touch and things like that, but whatever. And we've also changed the background a little bit tonight because winter has properly returned to the Lehigh Valley. We had an inch of, about a half inch of combined snow, ice, sleet, freezing rain today. We're expecting another storm Saturday, another Tuesday. I guess that damn groundhog is right. Anyway, it's 8:10. This is TKE tonight for the 6th of February, 2025. You're watching this live on the Facebook pages of the following: Ghost Claw Productions, Hot101.net, the TCP Media Group, Our Revolution, Pennsylvania, my own Facebook page, Jeff Kennedy, and of course our home group Facebook page for all things that have to do with our program, That Other Side of Information. That Other Side of Information is also the name of our YouTube channel. If the little pre-show and the silence and the watching me work is boring the crap out of you, and to be honest with you, it should be boring you because nothing's happening, go to the YouTube channel. Watch the recording. You can slide your finger toward from left to right and fast forward past all of that stuff, the 5 minutes or whatever that is. Fast forward right past it. Our YouTube channel is also called, same as our Facebook group, That Other Side of Information. I am on Instagram. What am I on Instagram? Oh, That Other Side of Information. Well, that's news to me. We're also on TikTok. We are on Patreon as well. You can actually support the program. The audio, we're also live right now on Twitch, Jeff Kennedy Talk Host. We are live on LinkedIn, Jeff Kennedy, and the audio of the program blasts around the globe via hot101.net. Our name is our web address. If you can connect to the internet anywhere below, on, or above Earth, you can listen to hot101.net for free. You can listen through the main website, which is, of course, www.hot101.net. And you can listen through our apps, Apple App Store, Google Play Store for Android, and the TuneIn radio app. You can also tell Alexa to play hot101.net. We are also live around the globe via GCPR, Ghost Club Productions Radio. .live. Use any search engine you wish. Type in GCPR or type in Ghost Club Productions Radio, and you'll find us. The website, you can listen free through the website as well. The Android app is up and running, and Apple app is on its way, as is new computer equipment for our studio. George Gilbert and I will be on FaceTime connecting everything. Maybe we'll broadcast some of it because it's fun. That's usually when George and I do technical work, it's usually pretty funny and kind of goofy and ridiculous, and I lose my Irish temper and everything else, and I throw things, and George tries to tell me not to throw things, and all those things seem to happen to us when we're doing technical work. So anyway, welcome to the program. Let's get to it. I wish that I could start somewhere cheerful. Wish that I could offer you some hope. I can't. The rooting. Anybody ever have a property, house, yard, farm? Maybe your home's in a forested area, and you have a tree that has to come down. I hate to see any tree get cut down. There's not enough trees left. Trees actually help mitigate climate change. But you have to take a tree down. Perhaps it's diseased, or it got hit by lightning, or broke in a storm, and it's just not safe anymore, or it's diseased, but the older the tree, the deeper the roots. It's very, very hard to unroot. I guess unroot is the right word, but because the roots run deep. What we're seeing in this country now, in the 3+ weeks of Trump 2.0, are roots growing down into the ground, with the government kind of as the metaphor for the ground. Well, the ground being the metaphor for the government. I think I had that backward. We're seeing the roots of fascism run deep and grow deep and spread at a pace that I don't think any of us were ready for. My party has done a truly dreadful job of providing significant, meaningful, measurable opposition. Now, just yesterday, Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii said that he would put a stop to all Trump appointees going forward. To be honest, nothing different than what the Republicans did to President Biden and President Obama. And that's the least we could do. You might wonder, if he said he was going to put a stop to these things, how did the cabinet officials get approved? There is no filibuster for cabinet officers. They can't be filibustered. All you can do, really, and you can't put a hold on them. You can't put, it's not a pink slip, what do they call it? Pink slip is when you get fired. There's a word for it in the Senate, and it's escaping me at the moment. Hand in a blue slip or something like that, which is kind of any individual senator's way of holding up nominations. It is a Senate rule. It is not in the Constitution. It is a Senate rule. Much like the filibuster itself, it is not in the Constitution. But it is a recognized way for any one senator to hold up appointments below the cabinet level. You may recall that Tommy Tuberville, the ex-football coach, because no better qualification for being a senator from the South than being a football coach, held up President Biden's appointments to the Pentagon for over a year. He did that as a protest against abortion. If you've ever heard Senator Tuberville speak, you would know he is not one of the brightest bulbs on the string. Which is not to say that anyone who plays American football is stupid. Mr. Tuberville, a bit. Fills that stereotype quite nicely. So Senator Schatz of Hawaii is now going to do the same thing to the Trump regime. Good. It's the least we could do. There is what would I call it? It is a tradition. But it's somewhere elevated above tactic. In the United Kingdom, the minority party, which is currently now the Conservatives, Labour has the Labour Party, which is the UK equivalent to the Democratic Party, I would say, or the Progressives, and so on. They have the majority in Parliament. And they have a clean majority in Parliament. They do not have to form a coalition government with anyone. They are in complete control, having just wiped their way through the Conservatives in the last general election. Prime Minister is now Keir Starmer. I can't name the whole cabinet. I used to be able to do that. I've really lost touch with watching Prime Minister's question times. I really should do that more again. And if you've never watched Prime Minister's questions time from the United Kingdom, you should watch it. You can also watch Canadian PMQs as well as, I think, Australia, where the head of the government has to go into the legislature and answer questions from the members. Could you imagine Trump going to the well of the House of Representatives and answering questions from Hakeem Jeffries or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Ro Khanna? What entertainment that would be. But anyway, that said, one of the traditions in the UK government is something called the shadow government. And I think I've talked to you about this before. The party that is out of the majority will form what's called a shadow government, a kind of alternative government. They have no power. They do not run any of the ministries or departments. They do not set policy. But in a parliamentary system, Keir Starmer is the prime minister because he's the head of his party. He was not elected prime minister as such. There's no direct election of the prime minister. You merely, I guess is not the right word, but you vote for your local member of parliament, who is a member of a party. That majority, whatever party is in majority, the head of the party becomes prime minister. So you don't vote directly for prime minister. And then the minority party will form what's called the shadow government. So right now, the head of the Conservatives is what they would call the shadow prime minister. So it's a little bit of a longer explanation here in an hour show, but that's This is what Democrats need to do now. At least theoretically, if we were to directly analogize the UK to the United States, the head of the Democratic Party would be the shadow president. That would mean Ken Martin. I tend to think because we have two houses of our legislature, that shadow president would be either Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries. And then what happens in the UK with the shadow government is that every time the prime minister makes a visit somewhere, announces a new policy, puts forth a new piece of legislation, shadow government is there to pounce all over. If the Minister of Defense announces a policy, the shadow Minister of Defense is there to counter it. And sometimes even agree with it. But generally speaking, they're there to counter it. The reason that this works as an opposition in the UK is that the media covers it. The House Democratic Progressive Caucus had a half-hour-long press conference today on the illegalities by Musk, stolen information, his access to government, the cabinet appointees, and so on and so on. It went on for half an hour. No one covered it live. You could find it live online, which is a bit of an improvement, but no one covered it live. I mentioned to you on Tuesday when Trump had his press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu that MSNBC covered it live. I would be really hard-pressed to tell you when they covered any joint press conference with any foreign leader during President Biden's 4 years. They covered him live this morning at the National Prayer Breakfast. I don't think they did that any of the 4 years. Maybe the first year, because the prayer breakfast happened not too long after the inauguration. They may have covered Biden at the first prayer breakfast, but I don't believe they covered any after that. And to go off on a giant tangent about how the media has failed us would be a whole different show. And I'm not going to get into that. But that is part of this. But it is up to my party, up to the Democrats, to provide every last bit of opposition, of abstinence, of blockage, to be the biggest speed bump in the road you could possibly be. And yeah, that means we might get run over sometimes. But if you run over a speed bump too fast, it does damage. And that's what Democrats have to be. And we are not doing a good enough job of it. Now, Randall. You're green tonight, Randall. After how our Democratic PA Senator Fetterman voted to confirm Trump's AG and Pete Hegseth at the Department of Justice. And he voted for Russell Vought, Office of Management and Budget. It's time to, I don't think we have to talk about castration, but yeah, okay, I get your point. Part of that resistance, in my opinion, has to be using the law where necessary, where needed, where appropriate. During her confirmation hearings, the new Attorney General, Pam Bondi, told senators She will not have an enemies list. She told them that the Department of Justice will be independent and nonpartisan. She told them that she will not prosecute Department of Justice employees who were involved in the investigations of Trump. Well, she got sworn in yesterday. Today, she began the investigations of the people investigating Trump. So this now becomes very, very simple. That means that under oath, during her confirmation hearings, she lied. She flat out lied. Now, she was under oath. When you lie under oath and you get caught, if it was you or me, we would be charged with perjury. So why isn't Pam Bondi being charged with perjury? Man who, after a 30-plus hour filibuster by Democrats, holding the floor of the Senate, which is the most resistance they actually could put up, and good on them for doing it. Russell Vought was confirmed as the head of the Office of Management and Budget. Russell Vought is one of the architects of Project 2025. He helped write it. Do you honestly believe that he's going to follow what Congress has laid out for him? We appropriate the money, we tell you where to spend it, you make sure it gets spent. This administration's already ignored Congress. Every single day they ignore Congress. And the Trumps in Congress are perfectly happy with that. So when Vought completely turns the Office of Management and Budget into a tool to institute Project 2025 in violation of the law and the Constitution, who is going to step up to prosecute these things? Now, there's a difference in illegality. There's different kinds of illegality. If you rob someone, it's a criminal offense. It just is. There are other types of illegality that don't carry criminality. To violate the Constitution is illegal. But there's no real enforcement mechanism behind that. It just simply is what it is. This administration says they're going to end birthright citizenship. A series of groups like the ACLU and advocates for immigration sue in court. A federal judge, being the arbiter of what is and what is not constitutional, says you can't end birthright citizenship. It's in the Constitution. The only way you can end it is to change the Constitution, which won't happen. The thresholds are too high. So there's no criminal enforcement behind this. It's not like that judge can say, you violated the Constitution, now I'm throwing you in jail. That doesn't exist. It's illegal, but it isn't criminal. But the action still has to stop once the judge makes that judgment. But this administration, Trump 2.0, has shown you they don't care. They don't care about the law, they don't care about the Constitution, they don't care about Congress, they don't care about you. Trump lied to you this entire campaign. I don't know what Project 2025 is. I have nothing to do with it. He's done nothing but institute it from the minute he was sworn in. An oath, by the way, that he lied about because he's already violated it. He violated it during his first term. He took an oath he had absolutely no intention of fulfilling. Again, the difference between illegal and criminal. He's violated the oath of office. He did it the first day. But there's no criminality behind it. Pam Bondi broke the law. She perjured herself in front of Congress. She could be brought up on charges for that. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know who would do it. Would it have to be the U.S. Attorney for D.C.? I think the U.S. Attorney for D.C. was already replaced by Trump, so that's not going to happen. Is it a state attorney general somewhere? I don't know. This is where I've reached the end of the road of my legal knowledge. But if there is such an avenue, it has to be pursued. We have to use every last peaceful, legal, constitutional way of trying to stop the roots of fascism from growing so deep that we can never turn back. Musk's children were in the Department of Health and Human Services today. They were in the Medicare office today, taking more data. Now, a judge ruled they cannot enter the Department of the Treasury again. They've already been there, got what they needed. Kristen told me that one of Musk's pickpocket children from Oliver Twist, the oldest of the group, I think, the 25-year-old, was let go. I don't know if he was fired, left of his own volition. I have no idea. She told me the story, and I've completely forgotten it because I'm old. But something happened that he is no longer one of Musk's band of pickpockets. But the guy's an IT genius. So when he stuck thumb drives into the government computers at these various departments that they've already raided, you think maybe he didn't make more than one copy? A copy he could sell? A copy to cover his own ass? From Trump's retribution? I don't know why the kid lost his job. I completely forgot. I'm sure you can use a DuckDuckGo search and find it. But one of them's already gone. One of them is 19, by the way. Imagine being 19 and being so convinced that fascism is the best way to go. Imagine being 19 and never being politically aware, old enough or politically aware enough to know what it's like to be in a truly free country. Can't even imagine. You know, and nothing really says more about oligarchy than what Musk has done to the U.S. aid agency. USAID's budget was about $40 billion a year, which is less than 1% of the federal budget. In fact, it's less than 0.5% of the federal budget. It bought food, medicines for poor countries around the planet. USAID alone has been responsible for saving well over 20 million lives on the African continent, saved from disease and starvation. Nothing tells you that so much of this is about money than the destruction, the defaming, the dismantling of the USAID office. 52,000 people lost their jobs already related to USAID. It's $40 billion that Musk doesn't want to pay in taxes. He already wasn't paying taxes. Billionaires don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to fund the government because they don't want to pay for it. And they thought none of us would notice. They thought none of us would protest because of the USAID office. They thought we didn't know what it was. But we do know what it is. What was done to USAID is exemplary of Project 2025. It's 912-page blueprint in book form. Mixing up all my words. On how to dismantle government. How to make billionaires the new royalty. And to end democracy. In a little over 3 weeks in, they are going at breakneck speed. Can any of you say that you recognize this government from 3 weeks ago, let alone 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Sherry brings up an interesting point. Most of the government job losses during the Clinton administration were what came from what we were told was the quote-unquote peace dividend. The Cold War was over. And there simply wasn't justification for all of the military bases, both around the world and inside the United States. There wasn't justification for, of course, in those days, the military budget was only about $500 billion instead of the $1.3, $1.5 trillion that it is now. Clinton also gave us the birth of neoliberalism. Smaller government, less spending, cuts in corporate taxes. It's funny, Clinton was about as much of a Democrat as Eisenhower was. Two were very similar politically. Well, it's interesting that you're here, Sherry. If you thought the Biden years were the worst in your 50, you ain't seen nothing yet. You're exactly the kind of person who's going to hear, rightly or wrongly, no matter how much you want to. If I'm gathering what you're telling me correctly, if I'm making the correct assumptions, which is not ever a good practice. If you thought the Biden years were the worst for your life, you ain't seen nothing yet. If you don't like democracy, you're in the right country. If you want to pay, we're going to have another $8 trillion tax cut. You will see none of it. None. Clinton did not start all of this. That's simply an ignorant thing to say. It started with Nixon. Republicans have hated the working person since the Republican Great Depression. Remember, it was a Democrat that saved us from that. They hated the New Deal. Reagan said repeatedly and publicly and in interviews he was running for president to destroy what was left of the New Deal. It was Jerome Powell, one of Nixon's appointees to the Supreme Court, who wrote a letter to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and said, you better start spending money and getting politically active because the middle class is getting too large. They have too much wealth and too much political power. And unless you want to lose your wealth, they need to be stopped. And Nixon began that. Remember, it was Haldeman that said we couldn't jail people for arguing with the president. We couldn't jail them because they didn't like what we were doing in Vietnam. But we could jail them for drugs. So we made drugs illegal. And they made them available. It was Reagan that slashed income taxes from 74% to 25% on the rich. Cut corporate taxes. Cut the capital gains tax. I don't need to read up on any of it. I'm living it. I'm a child of Reaganism just like you. I couldn't finish college because Mr. Reagan thought I loaned too much money. I only had a finite amount of money I could take. And once it was gone, I simply couldn't finish school anymore. I couldn't go, couldn't finish. Let me reset the program. We only have, which is an odd time for me to do it because we only have about 18 minutes left. It's 8:43 Eastern Time. This is TKE tonight, the Kennedy Effect tonight for the 6th of February, 2025. A wintry February 6th, dare I say. We're expecting quite a bit of winter weather here in the next hour. Or next hour? What am I talking about? I'm having all sorts of short fires in my brain today. For the next week, we're expecting quite a bit of wintry weather. I guess the groundhog was right, much to my chagrin. I was so ready for spring. So ready for spring. But it's not coming. Ice today. I think we're expecting snow again on Saturday and some more snow next week. We are live right now on the Facebook pages of Hot101.net, Ghost Cloth Productions, the TCP Media Group, Our Revolution, Pennsylvania, my own Facebook, Jeff Kennedy, and our home group Facebook page for all things surrounding our program, That Other Side of Information. If you ever miss our program, want to watch a recording, you don't want to watch me getting myself together at the beginning of the program, go to YouTube and watch the recording, youtube.com/That Other Side of Information. The information over my left shoulder, which I tend to always forget, is that you can find us on, in addition to Facebook and YouTube, you can find us on Instagram, Patreon, where you can actually support the program financially, and TikTok. It's all That Other Side of Information. So we're live right now on YouTube as well. Once the live feed ends, it stays there as a recording. If you don't want to watch the 5 or so minutes at the beginning where I'm kind of getting myself together, watch the recording on YouTube and just slide your finger to the right. You can fast forward past all of that. All of our recorded programs, all of them are on our YouTube channel, That Other Side of Information. We are live on Twitch right now, Jeff Kennedy Talk Host, and LinkedIn, Jeff Kennedy as well. The audio of the program blasting out around 2 global internet radio stations. One of the first, hot101.net. Our name is our web address. You can listen on any type of device that connects to the internet, laptops, desktops, tablets, phones. You can Bluetooth it to headphones, earbuds, speakers, Bluetooth it in the car. You can tell Alexa to play hot101.net. You can listen through the main website, www.hot101.net, as well as our apps, Apple App Store for Apple devices, Google Play for Android, and the TuneIn radio app. You're also on my radio station that I am half owner of with my dear friend, brother from another mother. He got all the milk. I'm translucent. He's as dark as night, and that's a joke that he'll laugh at too, because it's jokes. We're like the yin yang. We're like the Chinese yin yang. He'll think it's funny. I know he will. And actually, Gambit's watching, so Gambit will pass that joke on. Yeah, it was funny. He got you on that one. But anyway, gcpr.live. gcpr.live. ghostclawproductionsradio.live. That's our website. You can listen there free. Our Android app is working as well. If you have an Android device, Google Play Store, Android device, you can find Ghost Claw Productions Radio there, and it's all for free. The website, of course, will tell you about all the different hosts, all our different shows, bios, show, abouts, synopses. I usually use the word synopses, fancy word. You can read about all our shows there. Somebody, I have to rearrange my desk. Somebody is calling me. My guess is it's Randall. Randall's going to tell me to my face again that I didn't read his comments and that I didn't listen, and then he's going to talk to me like an angry librarian and school me. Go ahead.
Yeah,
because I'm not doing anything here, so I'm not busy or anything. So yeah, I missed one of your comments. Go ahead, scald me like a. Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to. There's 10,000 BS that come out of Trump and all his minions that he's already put as either acting secretary or acting this, acting that, or actually gotten confirmed by the majority in the Senate. And here's
a rare piece of slack. I'm actually going to cut this administration. To have acting individuals this early in a new administration is not unusual. Trump relied on a lot of actings in his first incarnation because he didn't want to put these people in front of the Senate. Many of them served beyond the, I think it's 90 days that they are allowed to serve as acting cabinet officials and other hundreds of appointments. The president has thousands of appointments that he or she, if we ever have a she, is allowed to.
I thought it was 120 days.
It might be 120 days, but we're allowed this early in administration to have someone as a quote unquote acting is not unusual. But go ahead.
No, but it's unusual if there's thousands of acting and all the cabinet and all the agencies and etc. And what he's done to U.S. aid is just immoral. There, 34 million children on this planet were being fed, were being inoculated against polio, and now it's not a backward village out back somewhere, and Uganda. It's the capital city, and Ebola is breaking out, and there's international flights everywhere in the world from there. And to stop everything, to pull medical people out. And this Ebola is a multi-strain resistant strain, a new one. This could be the pandemic for the planet.
You answered your own question, though, didn't you? Where is this happening? Let me take you through a series. Let me take you through a series of questions. You're going to know exactly where I'm going, but you'll play along with me. I know you will. So this is happening in Africa. And who is it that said that USAID is a criminal agency and needs to be shut down immediately?
Musk.
And where was Musk born and raised?
South Africa.
And when did his family flee South Africa?
When apartheid was overthrown by the majority of South African citizens, and the white supremacists, all with their money,
they all
exited
Correct. They all left the country. Simple stuff. I mean, it's pretty simple stuff. That's not a hard line to draw. We can connect those dots pretty simply. And now let's put the period on that sentence. Musk doesn't want to pay for government. He thought USAID was an easy early target. USAID is actually something that no one had ever told me was even targeted in Project 2025, but clearly it was. It's $40 billion that Musk doesn't have to contribute toward to feed starving children of color that he hates anyway. He probably thought it was an easy target and a nice place to start, and that he could convince people that it was somehow evil. How feeding children is evil, you're going to have to help me with that one. Not you, Randall, but Life, Ether, somebody out there is going to have to help me with that one because I'm missing it. China has a foothold in Africa that we could only, with the destruction of USAID, could only hope to compete with. And they are literally building bridges, figuratively and literally, all across Africa. They bring electricity, water, and fresh water to villages. They build schools. They actually supply teachers. They provide medicines. At the same time, they strip away all the natural resources. That's part of the deal. We'll build you roads and we'll build you all these things. We just want to be able to mine for copper, diamonds, lithium, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they're not doing it through military power. They're doing it through generally refer to it as soft power. I think it's kind of a misnomer, but anyway, that's what USAID did, and now we've taken that away.
There's an element on the periodic table that if you don't have that element, it's impossible to build a jet engine, a rocket engine, period. And that is titanium.
Yeah.
There's only two major deposits of titanium on this planet. One is in Russia, and the other is in the country of South Africa. We've gone back multiple generations of presidents. We refuse to buy any titanium from Russia because our military, absolutely depends on titanium. Just like our civilian aircraft absolutely depend on titanium, and we're not going to be blackmailed by Russia. So, and that's why for too many decades, doesn't matter whether Democrat or Republican, our governments, they just turn their head away from apartheid in South Africa because we've got to have that titanium to build jet and rocket engines. Africa, continent-wise, is the most mineral, what's the word I'm looking for?
Mineral rich?
Mineral rich, thank you. The most mineral rich continent on the planet. They're poor soil for agriculture and a lot of other things, but minerally, yeah. Anyway, I'll let you go.
Let me ask you something really quick. I only got a couple minutes left, but I just want your opinion, and please disagree with me if you think I'm full of it. There's another. Well, first off, do you happen to agree with me for my opening premise that it's time for the Democrats to form a full shadow government? UK-style shadow government. All right, let me take this now. Let me take that analogy one step further. In a parliamentary system, France, for instance, has a prime minister and a president. I used to kid during the George W. Bush years that the United States had a prime minister and a president. George W. Bush was president. He read books to little children. He flew in planes. But it was Dick Cheney that was the prime minister. He ran the government. It would seem to me that we are in that situation again. We have a president. Trump does the press conferences. He spews whatever it is that he spews. But it's Musk that's running the government. It would seem to me that we now again have a president and a prime minister. Do you think I'm nuts, or does that make sense to you?
Well, it makes absolutely all the sense. You know, and where's J.D. Vance? that wrote the opening to Project 2025.
He wasn't chosen to lead, was he?
On manipulation towards achievement of everything in Project 2025.
He wasn't chosen to. He wasn't chosen to lead. He was chosen to make sure that the remainder of Project 2025 is implemented. Should anything happen to Trump, if Trump should pass, and I'm not wishing that, or if he should choose to step down or become incapacitated in some way, and I'm not wishing for that in any way, shape, or form. But if that should happen, that's what Vance is there for, is to finish the implementation, or at least get out of the way of the implementation of Project 2025. I think we all know that. I need to get moving here, sir. There's live people on after me. Thank you for calling me, as always. I hope you do take care of yourself.
Yep, I'll see you Sunday.
Actually, we are not here Sunday. Super Bowl.
No,
Nobody
won't see you.
Nobody wants to watch me when the Super Bowl's on. Well, Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. We should be debuting the new computer equipment next Tuesday. Have a good night, sir. I got to wrap up. That's actually, Randall brings up a good point. We are not planning to be here with you on Sunday. It's Super Bowl Sunday. Nobody wants to listen to me when they can unplug from the world for a little bit, watch the modern Roman gladiators take the field and play in the Super Bowl. And you're going to hear, you always hear around the Super Bowl, the biggest sporting event in the world. No, it isn't. The biggest sporting event in the world is the World Cup, where 2/3 of the planet watches. Weekly, half the planet watches the Premier League. Football, real football, the one that plays with feet, is the world sport. But it is the biggest American sporting occasion. Sunday, American football, the Super Bowl, Eagles and Chiefs. Watch it, enjoy it, unplug from all of this for a while. Immediately following us on hot101.net, the music returns. Following us on GCPR Superplex Party. We return to you on Tuesday from 8 p.m. The rest of the night on GCPR, Superplex Party from 9. Conversations with T. Nathan from 11. Thomas returns tomorrow. Flag on the Play Friday. And a steaming hot, fresh, hot, steaming hot of the sound of coffee. For everyone at hot101.net, for everybody at GCPR, for everyone surrounding our program, George, Lynn, Kristen, Daisy the dog, and April Riddick, I'm Jeff Kennedy. We've done about all the damage we can do. For those of you on hot101.net, the music returns right now. Those of you on GCPR.live, Superplex Party starts right now. We'll see you again